Sachin and Jigar, thank you so much for having me here at your studio in Mumbai. How are you both?
We're good. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm really well, and thank you for saying you're good, but you must be tired to some extent because you're living a rock and roll lifestyle right now. You've literally rolled into the city today and you're out straight after. You were saying, Sachin, a moment ago that this is what you dreamt of, this lifestyle.
Truly. I mean, if I can be honest with you, when we started out, we're still very simple blokes. And I'll tell you that we just only really wanted to do music. We never really thought we'll come this far, and maybe we've been sincere enough, hardworking enough to grab whatever came our way, but it is like a dream, to meet the eye of your fan and to sing songs with them. These live shows, they are just like adrenaline. It's not an easy life. I will not say this is very easy. But then what is easy, and why do we want anything that's easy? We worked hard for it, we'll work harder.
Jigar, in a nutshell, what is the journey? How have we reached to the point that today the two of you are among the most popular, most celebrated music composer duo in the country? What is the journey in summary almost?
I think it's a combination of hard work, sacrifice, blessings and luck. I think all of these things, when we were working hard, I think we lacked some luck. When we had the luck, we didn't work hard enough. I think last few years, we worked hard to grab the luck and we are here where we are.
If I just look at the discography and I look at just the last few years, whether that's Apna Bana in Bhediya and Tumkeshwari in Bhediya as well, the soundtrack of Zara Hatke Zara Bachke with Phir Aur Kya Chahiye and with Tere Vaaste in 2024, 3-2 with Aaj Ki Raat and Aine, and there's so many others. I'm just picking one from each year there. How does it make you feel knowing that these are all soundtracks that are part of your discography?
Honestly, this is our job. How else I don't even know. Sometimes it's funny when people ask these things, because we come to the studio thinking exactly this every day, my friend. This is what we've got to do. This is what they ask of us to
let's take one of those. Let's take Apna Bana, for example, which is a song that released in a film called Bhediya. And actually the film didn't do tremendously well, but this song has become timeless in its own right, especially the last 40 or 50 seconds of it where Arijit goes off on this amazing riff. Yes. How do you make something like Apna Bana?
So, let me be honest, we cannot make like this. Both of us don't have the power to make something like this. Something like this happens. Our very second song was Saibo, and I remember when Saibo came out, for a long time after Saibo came out, people kept asking us, how did you make this? How did the guy enter like that? But there are some things like, okay, let's stick to Apna Bana. Me and Sachin and our lyricist Amitabh Bhattacharya, we were in Dubai, and we already had a song in place of Apna Bana which was liked by everybody. One evening, I don't know what happened, and we decided, hey, let's try and make something else. And it came out of nothing. We had a guitar and there was something we hummed, and Amitabh Bhattacharya caught it. He said, this is a good tune, let me write to this. And I think in a matter of the next 7 or 8 minutes, we had the whole song. Bearing the antra. We had an antra. And while we made it, we weren't thinking that, hey, we made something so great. In fact, our next fear was, is the producer going to like it so much to replace it with the previous song? Because he is already listening to something else. And we have a great producer, Dinesh Vijan, and when he heard it, he said, okay, let's go for this. But the song had it. We had a tune for the antra, and we went to Arijit, and Arijit said, hey, should we try more antras? Let's try more tunes. And Arijit, as creative as he is, and luckily we made 3 or 4 tunes of antras back then. The antra, I mean the second verse of the song.
So Antara is
The
verse,
verse.
Yeah, so
and Mukra is chorus, right?
No.
No,
So-
Mukra is the first verse.
first verse.
Antara is the second verse.
Yeah.
What's the chorus?
Chorus will be part of the.
But what is it called? It's just called chorus?
Yeah, it's called chorus.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
good to get that.
Chorus, or like now more what do you say?
Popularly.
Popular. It's called hook now,
Yeah, hook.
right? So basically in Bollywood there is first verse, and what happens in an English song is a first verse, pre-chorus, chorus, and then the second verse is same as the first verse, and then you go into a bridge. But in a Bollywood song, what you do is you have a first verse, then you have a pre-chorus, chorus, and then you go into a verse which we call it antara, which is a different tune. It's not the same tune as the first verse. So anyway, we had 4 different tunes for the second verse, and that slipped in like that. And now when we sing that to the audience, we realize, okay, all this had to happen to this song, and none of us really tried and made an attempt to, oh hey, listen, we're going to make a timeless song, because timeless songs, first rule of a timeless song that I understand as much as I can is that it cannot be with so many beats. Apna Bana is a song with a thumping beat on it. It's got a tempo. If you see generally in a Bollywood song, a timeless song will be like or kaun sa hai apna
Jeena Jeena.
yeah. So those songs will be slow and will be very melancholic. So we never set out to make some it. I think we just got the right energies, the right intent, and the right people around it, and of course the beautiful audience that is ever evolving is doing its job.
Jigar mentioned that it wasn't the song that you initially had made for that scenario in that movie. That means that that song is somewhere in the universe and has not been heard by people. How does that work for you? Because that's your time, that's your energy that you put into so many different melodies, compositions, ideas, sometimes even to the extent of recording them that don't end up anywhere.
Yeah.
What is that process like for you?
Look, I feel that is why Bollywood is difficult, because you really can't afford to have an ego. Or you can't really say, oh, I put so much hard work there. If the film or the script or the director, sometimes the actor's driver also has a say in what songs should be taken. So then there are a lot of opinions that we are dealing with. And our job is, part of our job is to make everybody happy. And we are okay with that by now. I feel like every time a good song is rejected, I feel like fine, it'll go and find its own place somewhere else.
How many songs are in the kitty of songs that just have not been used anywhere?
We usually do not really hold on to that kitty, but we don't mind churning out a whole lot of new songs for every script that we come across.
Like for one film, how many would you compose?
Maybe about 12, 13 songs, and then 4 get picked up.
Wow. So there's at least 8 or so.
Yes, and we never revisit them, because if they were good enough, they would have made it.
No,
Yeah,
that's crazy. So,
But I mean, having said that, having said everything Jigar said, which is absolutely true, I would say that you have to be open enough for the possibility of something better.
Yeah.
That's the thing that you need to take away from
and
this
what
conversation.
happens when you are constantly in the vibe of making a song and trying to better yourself, all these songs that have not made it, they are lying somewhere, one in the hard disk and somewhere in the back of our brain. So they would come back in the form of another tune, as another part, as another thing somewhere. And then we realize after the song is made that, hey, listen, you remember we made this then, and now it's resurfaced as a little bit of this song. So these are all ideas that gather, and if we try to use that song the way it was made, I don't think we'll ever be able to use it. But sometimes it naturally finds its place in another song, as a part of another song, and that's so beautiful, because maybe that's what it was made for.
But that's such a ruthless process. That's such
It
a
is.
ruthless process with something that's such a creative space, something that you become so emotionally connected to as well.
Yes.
To then just, for example, if somebody told me I could never listen to Aaj Ki Raat ever again, like I would never be able to hear it again because it's been binned, disappeared, deleted from the digital archives, I would be heartbroken, and I have no involvement in making it.
Yes.
Look, I understand, and I so love the sort of love that you have for these songs. Okay, I'll tell you this, which is what I started telling you about, that, music's being made all over the world. The only real difficult thing here is that you will have to submit to the process, to the scriptwriter, to the director. So, and there are quite a few opinions, and I'm telling you, there are quite a few opinions, and it's not easy. It is ruthless, but it's really worth it at the end of the day. And I mean, you got to look at the bright side, that there is a producer there, who's ready to, change the song at the last minute. So there is openness all around. It's not just us trying to sacrifice.
And sometimes, you got to put the song behind you and not look at it for the betterment of the song that's not making it. Because imagine a song like a painting. You made a beautiful painting you love, and now someone's going to come and tell you, hey, can you make the eyes a little bigger? And you say, okay, chalo, let's do it. Then you say, hey, can you make the nose a little more bigger? And then you tweak the lips, and then it's no more the painting you set out for. So
there's a lot of Bollywood stars that have ended up like that as well. But
so we don't want our sound to
that was
like
ruthless.
And so you'd rather just love the portrait that you made, wrap it up and keep it right there. So at least it's with you in the way you made it, rather than going out to the people like a distorted version of it. So, and we'd never like to see our song like that.
Well, what's fascinating for me in this conversation is that so many times Bollywood and Bollywood music is composed of lacking originality, and to know that you're making multiple excess songs for every soundtrack, to then see that there are still so many songs that lack originality, that maybe might be a remix or a revisit, etc. Wouldn't it be better to put out those 8 that are still good instead of hear rehashes?
Yeah, no, I'll tell you what, it's a whole school of thought. There are lots of makers out there who are making it for the Friday, for the weekend. They are not really interested in the life of it.
So they're only interested in the box office performance of that film.
I would even go to the extent of calling them popcorn filmmakers, because it's like a popcorn. It will pop on just before the weekend, will create enough buzz for bringing the audiences to the, So, but that mindset doesn't really have the patience for, discarding 8 tunes. They'll say, hit kya hai? What's hit? So, alright, okay, that old song, that's already a hit song. Let's now just rehash it now. And I have no problems. It's art by itself. It's not that easy to get into somebody else's
And you have
song.
done remixes as well. It's not that you haven't.
Yes.
Yeah, we've done that when we have composed 3 original songs, and when, the producer or the whole production is inclining towards taking that one song from somewhere else, and then you just feel like if you that suddenly you're going to disconnect from the project, number one, because of that one song, or that one song is going to come shine far above all the other 3 original songs, because original songs need time for people to understand, to like them, etc. So we have done that not out of like first choice, but yeah.
But is that a frustrating place to be at in this industry, when the two of you are so talented and have so much creativity, to know that sometimes creativity is overlooked because of commerce, because of the commercial viability of a soundtrack? I mean, let's take the soundtrack of Vicky Vidya Ka Wo Wala video, for example. Tum Jo Mile Ho is an outstanding composition. It's orchestral, it's dramatic, it's theatrical, it's big, it's grand, it feels amazing. When I play it on my show, I feel happy every time I play it. But I know the songs that will get pushed are your na 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 nares and your sajna ve sajnas, because there is a familiarity for the audience. So is that a frustrating place for you both?
I think it's a challenging place. I'd not take it as a frustrating place. I think when there's something out there that is ready to get pushed, I think we got to push ourselves to make something better. And hence, in the same movie, we made a song called Mere Mehboob, which kind of found its place right up there.
Yes.
And it was supposed to go, like, that song was supposed to release at number 4. But I don't know what happened. They must have done some public screening or whatever. And that song came out. And that song is the song you remember from Vicky Vidya. So I think for everyone out there, whatever is frustrating you can also be taken or looked at it like a challenge. And then, just turn it to its head and take it on. And, you have a chance to really prove yourself so much more than being in a situation which is very, very comfortable for you to prove yourself.
Is that how you convince yourself? Is that how you have to distance yourself almost from the soundtracks once they're done? Because, for example, with for example, with Stree too, of course, Aine and Aaj Ki Raat have had their moment to shine, but for me, Tumhare Hi Rahenge Hum is equally as special. So do you almost have to just let it out and know that if it's good enough, it will have its moment?
Yeah, and we are in no rush. We are not really sitting here to claim anything at all. You can maybe perhaps feel that already. We are here to churn out great music. And look, every mother will tell you the same thing. You know, you can't really differentiate between your kids, right? But there's always that one that will go out and do well, while the other won't. But I'll tell you what is beautiful. I'll tell you that having spoken so much about how difficult it is, or you can't really hold an ego, etc. We are extremely grateful that we have this opportunity, that we are being able to, at least use our opportunity to make good original Hindi Bollywood music that people will remember 10 years down the line. Because I meet so many people who tell me those old songs, old Bollywood songs have the charm, and the new songs don't have the melody, etc. So I think we are doing our bit to change that.
Absolutely. And I think my respect for you has grown exponentially in the last 3 or 4 years. I mean, I've always known you as composers for the last 12 or 13 years, but in the last 3 years, every time I'm playing a song on my show and I'm saying, this is by Sachin-Jigar, this is by Sachin-Jigar, this is by Sachin-Jigar, automatically my respect elevates for you both as well. That you can do a Tere Vaaste and you can do a Taras at the same time, which is outstanding. I want to talk about some of these songs individually as well. One of the things I love about you is that you're really bringing back traditional Indian sounds to the movies. Like whether it's the Qawwali genre with Tere Vaaste or the Ghazal genre with Aaj Ki Raat, these are spaces that traditionally or certainly recently were seen as uncool or not poppy enough.
Right.
How do you land at reinventing these genres?
See, we okay. If to come to this, I think we'll have to just go back a few years. Me and Sachin have been music producers all our lives. We've produced music for so many composers, and every time we set out to produce something, we would end up making a piece in that song, which would be a flute piece, or which would be a sarangi piece, or a harmonium piece, or some piece which would have a certain Indian flavor, a certain flavor of the mitti, I'd say. And sooner or later, when we made Saibo, or when we made Gulabi, or when we made Mana Ke Hum Yaar Nahi, we realized that maybe that is our natural instinct. And this comes to us from so many of our producer friends, that that is your strength, that you guys can have an Indian melody and then have the production that can completely counter that melody and make it cool. Even if you see, we did a Ganpati song in ABCD 2, which was a dubstep song, and then there was Banduk Meri Laila. So we always wanted to have this what do you say, a modern age folk fusion. Like beach mein there was this whole vibe of Coke Studio, and everybody would sing a desi melody with a rock or alternate rock arrangement. And I think we very much love fusing our tunes with international sounding tracks, and maybe it's our natural instinct to make such songs. And when we get the opportunities for Aaj Ki Raat, like Sachin will tell you how that it's more about the
the character.
Characters.
Chand.
No.
Yeah, but she's not just another performer. She's not just another dancer performer. She's somebody who has a lot of respect. If you see the character in the film,
Shama.
And that's why it could not have been Kamaria.
Which is what you made for Stree 1.
Yeah.
So how does let's talk through, let's break down Aaj Ki Raat for a moment. So how does it work? You go into a space with Dinesh and with Amar, and they talk you through that scenario. How does that work? How do you create?
Yeah, it's a whole lot of things actually. First and foremost, we like to take the narration of the film.
Full film.
Yeah, the whole film. Jigar actually can read, I can't really read. So I'll ask him to read, then he'll give me a small lowdown on that. Or happily we'll take narration, maybe a couple of times if you have
And
to.
narration is quite a unique concept in Bollywood. It doesn't really exist in the West. In the West, you are just given a script and you read the script.
Yeah,
But here,
yeah.
the producer or the director
Yeah.
or the writer
Yes.
will sit in a
Yes.
room like this.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. And-
Because there is a very fine line. When I read a script, I will look at it from what I have been through in my life, the character, but what the director has envisioned or the right. So that's why we prefer
Yeah.
taking the narration.
And we've come through the ranks from theatre. That is our primary learning, that's what we started first charging money for. So in theatre, man, there's really nothing else but the script. I mean, everything revolves around the script. So what happens is, once we take narration, the favorite dialogue that's between me and Jigar is that, are you pregnant? Because I feel pregnant. Because there's always something happening to you musically when you're listening about a character, about a situation where they're thinking of a song, etc. So you're already in your head, you're thinking that, just to give you an example, that Stree Raj, his character, Vicky's character, was a shy guy's character. Okay. But then he fell in love and he was successful in his love life. So the second part, Stree 2, that love song is quite a confident song. The first time in Stree 1, he was singing Nazar na lag jaye janu, thought ye ghabraye sanu. But second time he said tumhare the, tumhare. So it does have a huge impact of sorts. Though it's not so dramatic, like I'm telling you. But it works in your subconscious.
Yeah.
You know that, okay, this is the graph. This is where you want to elevate it. Also, there are some very conscious not do's. Like, we did not want to do any rehashes of Kamariya or any other popular song on Stree 1. So we needed to go find spaces that could give us our, whatever, like popular songs.
Yeah.
And which is why we thought that, all right, Shama is such a character that you cannot have her dancing, with a bunch of boys just like her. She'll have to be saying something very impactful. In fact, there's a beautiful line, if I can break that down for you, Amitabh wrote. In the second verse, the line says that, "Ki kharidi nahi ja sakti haseenon ki ijazat." And it's beautiful. I mean, that's as graceful as
because it's a song about consent. Yeah.
So, and it's said in such a non-preachy way. Just by the way, such a big thing to say. So I just feel like, there are these fine things that you are trying to. Actually, I think it's more like playing football. It's you really, really do not know until you scored that. Okay, that this is that one pass that made the whole difference.
But there's so many components in
That's
Aaj Ki Raat.
Yes.
So how do you reach Aaj Ki Raat? Where do you decide
I'll
we're
tell
going to
you.
go ghazal, then we're going to bring in this dance sound, then it's almost like electro. Like, how do you decide we're going to pull all of this in?
Okay, so we knew we wanted to not repeat. So three things were in our head. We do not want to repeat any song, any riff, anything that sounds like Stree 1. Second, we had to make a female song, and for a very long time, female songs have not found audiences, in Bollywood. Like the way Kajrare found or Chikni Chameli found. We knew we could not do a Chikni Chameli here. So we made a loop, which the track that you hear is the first thing that came for that song. We made a loop that really engaged the two of us.
The loop is which bit?
The kick and the bass. The only two things that we produced here on the machine. We produced the kick and the bass.
So if you can sing it out, the bass loop, thump, thump, thump.
So basically, we had this bass and the four chords and those four really 80s sounding chords, and we looped that in. We said, okay, now this is exciting. Now what can we do on this? And then naturally, I think both of us started singing a ghazal on it.
Which is so out of place in Bollywood.
Yes. And there was no attempt. There was nothing. It just we naturally started singing a ghazal on it.
Yeah. And in that process, a lot gets
Filter.
thrashed
Yeah.
there and then
Yeah.
also. So,
But-
this is just one of those ideas.
How do you even go with the idea of a ghazal, knowing that it's so
I mean,
out of
if
place?
we would know that, I would be able to teach how to make a song.
But
I don't know how that.
I mean, but like somebody like a Shama, who's from Lucknow, let's say,
Yeah.
would most probably singing be a ghazal. You know,
Yes.
in a performance like that.
But all these things are coming after the song is made. These thoughts weren't there when we were singing.
So when you're in a creative space,
Yeah.
you're not thinking about the parameters with which you're working.
No, maybe the narration had an impact, and
Yeah,
maybe
so it's in your subconscious.
Yeah,
That's what
could
he's
be.
trying to tell you. That we are not really going to take Shama's character so seriously that we end up making something arty. I mean, you can't really even
Yeah.
go down that.
Yeah, it's not
End
for
of
the
the stage.
Hira Mandi
yeah,
soundtrack. This is for
it
the
could have
Stree
been
soundtrack.
Zaba pe laga namak iska.
Yeah.
Very well be that song. But the point is, we knew we wanted to go ultra modern, and we had those 4 beats, and we started singing a ghazal. And that one night at Dino Sir's place, we just sang it out, and he said, "Listen, this is sounding very cool." And Amitabh was there, and he gave Aaj Ki Raat. No, he said "Aankhon se lijiye" was the first line he gave, and we thought it was cheap. And then he said, "No, I'm going to turn it around. Just hold on to this." And we started singing "Aankhon se lijiye," and then he turned it around. And again, see, such songs, Apna Bana le, 7, 8, 10 minutes. Aaj Ki Raat, the whole song, after we had the loop and the idea, was 10 minutes.
This is crazy. Sorry, you made Aaj Ki Raat from Aankhon se lijiye.
Yes.
From a kick and bass loop, not even a word.
So
But that tune of Aankhon se lijiye was
yeah,
there.
so I'll tell you, right after we had the loop, there was a vaguish tune going around. Right? And then he said, "Aankhon se lijiye." And I said, "No." And he said, "No, yes. Just let me turn it around for you." And then he came up with the first line.
Aaj Ki Raat, mother.
Aaj ki raat. So I promise you, it is magical when these things happen. Except you have to be open enough to say, fine, I'm going to latch onto this idea and continue down this path. Or if it doesn't really end up becoming something special, or it doesn't, if everybody's not finding it cool, we'll say, fine, we'll start again fresh tomorrow morning.
And then where do you say, let's add in a dun 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 dun? Where does that come from?
It all comes like it's all part of.
But that's actually perhaps very natural to Jigar. I mean, for him, I would say that with a lot of pride that Jigar can come to the studio thinking he wants to make a dance song and come out of the studio having made a dance track. Because for him, he talks to these sounds. Like you can see all these babies. I should perhaps one day release one secret video that I've taken of him shopping in a synth store, and he becomes like a baby.
Yeah.
So everything you earn, is it invested back into this space?
Yeah.
Is it all here? It's all here
Yes.
behind
And
us.
I'll tell you, when you love something so much, when you love a tune so much, when you love music so much, it comes to you. It does not wait. When your intent is right, when your method is right, when you want it, it will come to you. It'll break all barriers. It'll reach your head, and it's going to come out of you. Similarly, when you are really wanting to produce something, you will open a sound, and that will be the sound you are looking for. I cannot tell you how easy it is, but you have to be so much invested.
So there's sometimes where the inspiration is there for you because you're given like the story or you're given the narration. There's other times where you're just told we need a promotional number for this
Then
song.
we are not the guys.
But you have delivered on that because
Yes.
Tere Vaaste is a promotional number.
Okay, let
Sorry.
me tell you. Oh, well, if you are good enough to talk about. So Tere Vaaste was an R&B song, man.
Yes.
We had an R&B riff.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it was a.
तू जो कह दे तो दुनिया में छोड़ दूंगा तेरे ना 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 ना.
It was a love song. It was a love song.
It was a song like that.
I mean, I'm gobsmacked, but yeah, okay. It was an R&B song.
Yeah, it was a
R&B
very, very
song.
R&B song, and we
Yeah,
thought,
and we had these very generic words to, even sing the tune at that time when we were, just flirting with the idea that, okay, can it be this song? And honestly, none of us were convinced about it. But that trip, so we usually do these small trips, because Bombay life can be very asking and there are so many projects. So, and in that trip, we could not actually finish closing that song really, right? So when we came back to Bombay, and I said that we have that song, do you want to discuss about it? And I was like, uska, what do you want to do about it? And I said, and I just
Passingly.
very shyfully told Jigar that, Jigar, isme Qawwali ka beat lag sakta. And I didn't even say that very loud because I was like, what are these guys going to think of me? And then everybody just said, that'll work. I mean, see, and that is what I'm telling you. It's that openness for an idea that helps you achieve it. And just the whole idea of dropping a tabla, dholak, qawwali beat on it.
Because for a very long time, we especially Sachin and me, we always try to do something that nobody else is doing. So when everyone's doing tabla dholak, we want to make Party Abhi Baki Hai, which has no tabla dholak. When everyone else doing bhangra, we want to do DNB, Raat hai ek aur, or whatever.
Barbadiyan was you guys?
Yeah, it was us, right? So the minute that idea came through, I immediately flashed 10 years in my head that, okay, this is not done, let's go for it. And we have to go for it like never before. We have to go for it full power. And that guitar riff, and it just, like how I told you, when you ask for it, it comes to you. It just comes to you.
How important is it for the two of you that genres like Qawwali and Ghazal and traditional Indian styles are kept alive through Bollywood? Because there was a point up until a couple of years ago that they were rare to see completely.
Yeah. No. Can I tell you this, that Bollywood sort of is a happy monster. Bollywood can, anything that is palatable can be Bollywood. Even a Honey Singh could be Bollywood for a few years. That's what Bollywood is. Because Bollywood's got this world audience that can take a genre. And that is how we even know about ghazals, if I can be honest with you. I don't think as a kid I had enough money to go buy, Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan Saab's records. Right? So I actually would have not known about those songs if it's not for Bollywood. So I just feel that in the last few years, and I'm not trying to blame anybody, but I just feel like we haven't taken enough chances. I think with me and Jigar, it's very natural for us to do that, but we also have this very daring producer in Dinesh Vijan, and that he also thinks like us. Like he inspires us.
In fact, he'll say, "Ye to humne last album mein kiya." I'm telling you some very bold decisions, some of which I cannot say. We've taken for Stree too, that okay, this is what we want to do, and
then you have to own the success or the failure,
right? And see, there is a stark difference, like how he's saying Shama is a character in the film who can behave a certain way and cannot do anything else. Now, that is one female song of the year, and the same year we got an opportunity to make Taras, which is a out and out item song, but we still didn't want to do a Munni Badnaam Hui, And if I may, Taras
is a sad song.
And
not the way Sharvi is dancing in it. It's not a sad song.
The kind of production that Taras has is the production actually we had made in 2018, and then it had got rejected then. So we took the tune out of there, kept a few things from there, and see like how it resurfaces. Some things from that track resurfaced here, and it gave us the idea to cast Jasmine. And when Jasmine came, that song really exploded.
Absolutely.
And so nothing really that is trashed goes waste. It always comes back
in a nicer way.
That's an amazing note to end this on as well. Finally, what can we look forward to in the next few months? What is on the slate of films for you both now?
We have Thama, which is with Ayushmann and Rashmika. We have 21, again, which is a Sriram Raghavan and Dinesh Vijan film. Thama, 21, one more.
So there are quite a few, but
those are the ones you can mention for now.
Another very special film we are doing for Karan Johar. It's called Chand Mera Dil.
Amazing. This is with Ananya Pandey and Laksh. This one.
That's right.
And this is a young urban
love story.
That's true.
Yes. I can't wait to hear all of that and so much more. Sachin and Jigar, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you.
Thank you
so much.